Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. This is the Kohen speaking. Great Shabbat over here. I am recording this lecture earlier than the time. As you know, this Shabbat will be the 18th of September. And what normally happens is that usually on the day, maybe, I may have to go out somewhere, or possibly somebody may call me. And I get a lot of distractions because our timings are different. By the time that you guys are up, we're already past Shabbat time. We're in night zone. So it's easier for me to focus on a Shabbat lesson prior to the Shabbat. That way, I can teach you what actually the Spirit is guiding me to teach you. Because I don't want to spend, 30, maybe 40, maybe 1 hour of your time just babbling things and that make no sense. I'd rather give you a coherent, Spirit-led lecture that will help you going forward and that will change your lives. And as we know, many lives have been changed already. And the proof is in my students all over the world that listen to these lectures, and they will testify to this. So, today's Parsha would have been Ha'azenu, which is normally taken from the book of Deuteronomy, 5th book of Moses, 5th book of the Bible, chapter 32 and verse 1. That would have been a normal chapter listening for us, Ha'azenu. Give ear, basically. Give ear. O Yishamayim, and I will speak and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Now, that's our Parsha. And I'm going to speak a little bit, I'll give you a little excerpts from the Parsha. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall drip as the dew, as a small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of Yahweh, ascribe you greatness to our Supreme One. Okay, so that is the Parsha's, first, let's call it the first 4 lines. Now, the reason why I decided to record this earlier also, because last night when I went to bed, there was one recurrent theme that kept spinning in my head. And I was like, what is the meaning of this? And of course I understood the meaning, so I brought it to you over here today. And the theme that was recurrently in my head last night was, although this Parsha is linked to it, it was a story of Joshua and Jericho, and the Jericho walls falling down. That was a recurrent theme, and I went to bed last night, and I couldn't sleep because it kept spinning in my head. The walls falling down, Jericho's walls falling down. And so I thought, that is an appropriate story, an appropriate actions that it reveals that I need to bring to the people listening, to the people who want to apply this to their lives, because to many people, they may question the story's truthfulness. Did the Jericho walls really fall down? A lot of people today outside, they just treat this story just as a fable, as a legend. I'm not here to question this story's alleged legendness or not. To me, the story is truthful, but it has another aspect of lesson to it that we have totally and utterly missed, or at least we didn't care about it so much. We just read it as a story that happened years ago, thousands of years ago, and the walls of Jericho fell, it was overtaken, and we just left it at that, and we haven't really looked at it, what it actually means. And If I asked you today and I said, how you apply that story in your life today, you'd probably be clueless. You wouldn't know where to start and where to end. You wouldn't know how to apply it. So I'm going to teach you today the relevance of the story to today and how it can be applied today and how you can reap results and how you can get great successes out of this story. This is why this story was reverberating last night is reverberating in my head. And I don't normally, on a Sunday, I don't normally get up. Sunday for me is a day, I want to sleep late, maybe, wake up late, usually. But I couldn't sleep late. I had to get up earlier. As I told you, recording this lecture earlier, so I had to get up earlier on Sunday because that's what was happening. I couldn't sleep. Again in the morning, the same thing. Maybe at dawn, the story started to reverberate again in my head. The same thing again, over and over and over again. And I went to opened the Bible, opened the Hidden Truths of Break Scrolls or Abrahamic-Faith Bible. I went straight to, of course, Ha'azenu. I looked at that already a little bit. But I went to Joshua chapter 6. And it says, now Jericho was shut tightly because of the children of Israel. None could go out and none could come in. And Yahweh said to Yehoshua, see, I have given it into your hand, Jericho, and the king there, and the mighty men of valor. And you shall go around the city, all you men of war, go around the city once. And you shall do this 6 days. And 7 Kohanim, 7 priests, shall bear before the ark 7 shofarim of rams' horns. That's 7 shofars. And the 7th day ye shall go around the city 7 times, and the Kohanim, the priest shall blow with the shofarim. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's shofarim, and when you hear the sound of those horns, or shofarim, or shofars, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. Okay, so that is the story. That is supposedly a legend for many people. For me, this is not a legend, by the way. Let me testify to you. I believe the story is true. The story is trustworthy, but the story has many aspects to it. And one of the greatest aspects to the story is what I'm going to teach you today, which you probably never heard from any rabbi on this earth. I am probably the first rabbi and priest, a Kohen, who's going to teach you this aspect that no one's ever touched. Because, most of the rabbis that I, have ever heard in the past, or if I ever come to hear, they just fluff around it. They pick one word and they just fluff around it and they just babble around it, and they give you nothing of substance that you can apply into your life today. And I'm pretty sure that some rabbis who listen to this will probably be upset what I just said, but that is true. That's what you guys do. Rabbis, priests, pastors, teachers, whatever you want to call yourself. That's what you do. You just give fluff. You just babble around it. You just want to pass your Sunday or your Saturday, or your Friday night, with 15, 20 minutes of a little lecture. And then you want to just have your drinks and do your little prayer and go home, and that's the lot, and that's your week's lot. For me, this is much bigger. Me, this is life, because I travel. Unlike many of you souls who've never left your state, probably never left your city, I travel world over, and I'm always traveling, and that's just the way it is. That's how I was born. I was born traveling. When I was born, 3 months later, I was traveling. So, and ever since then, ever since I've been 3 months old, I have been traveling all my life. City to city, country to country, person to person, home to home, wherever God places me, I go. Wherever He places me. And I think the true testament to that would be Rabbi Kefa, who knows this too well, that how I've shifted countries in the last 15 years, how many countries I've shifted. He knows, more than anybody else, how I've been traveling back and forth, up and down, and all over the place. And still the same, and nothing has changed. Because that's just the way, that's how, Abraham lived his life like this. Abraham, our forefather, my forefather, your forefather, if you are part of the children of Israel, he lived like that. He traveled. He was a sojourner. He maybe stayed at one place few years, and then he moved on. And then stayed at another place few years and moved on, until I guess finally Jacob, when he was born, he settled with his children. Even he was traveling. Even he wasn't settled in one place. Until, remember he went to Egypt, he came back into Israel, and then he settled with his children in Israel. And in fact, Jacob died, and they buried him. So, coming back to this story, and this story, I want to also link it with Matthew chapter 14, where Jesus, Yeshua of Nazareth, walks on water. And let me give you a little bit of that one too. Yeah, let me give you a little bit of that one. And I'll read from the NIV on this one, instead of flipping around my Bible. It says in verse 22, immediately Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, now pay attention to the word dawn. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, take courage, it is I, don't be afraid. Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. Come, he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, came towards Jesus, but when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink, cried out, Lord, save me. Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You of little faith, he said, why did you doubt? Okay, so this is a story from the book of Matthew chapter 14. Now, I've given you a little excerpt of Joshua chapter 6. I've given you a little excerpt of Ha'azenu, about the Pasha, Torah portion of this week. It talks about the heavens and what it actually means. So, what does this all mean? I mean, okay, it's all very well reading the Bible. It's all very well we read together and we try to grasp and understand. What does it mean? What is it that it's trying to teach us? Ultimately, you will agree with me that it is trying to teach us about belief, faith, manifesting law. The law of manifesting is present throughout these particular scriptures that I am reading today for you. Throughout, and I will explain in a second how that works together. And there are numbers here that have secret behind it, and I will open up the numbers a little bit for you as well. Different people will get different understanding of the numbers. Jericho now is a city in Israel. I've been there. Some of you probably already been there as well. You probably been there and probably bought stuff from the Palestinians over there. I have. I bought in Jericho, by the way, I bought a palm tree from a Palestinian a grower, and I brought it to America, and I planted that little plant, that palm tree. It was very small. I took it in my suitcase. It was quite small at the time. Not that small, it was a suitcase size. And I put it in Florida. And it is actually growing in Florida as we speak, in Pensacola, Florida. It is there. It's now actually flourishing. And probably one day it's going to become a beautiful tree. that was one of my visits to Jericho. Okay? So Now, in Jericho, as you know, there's a lot of Palestinians there. There are a lot of shops, so you can go and, when Christians and other people go there, a lot of them go to Jericho and they do their shopping over there, and they go and buy stuff and they bring it back to America, England, other places, wherever they travel from. So I did the same. I went there by taxi. I got the stuff, brought it back, and planted it over there. And I said, one day I'm going to take a branch from this tree and I'm going to plant it wherever I stay in America. If I stay at, let's say, Ohio, I said I'll plant it in Ohio in my house, and I'm going to have a branch of this wherever I stay as a reminder that I went to Jericho one day and bought this little tree over there, little palm tree, because this has meaning for me, palm tree. And palm is mentioned many times in the Bible. So coming back to Joshua's story, how does it apply to the law of manifesting? Well, it's very simple. I'm not going to sit over here and argue with you the dates and when it happened and why it happened. I will tell you what actually is going on over here. Here, God calls Joshua. He tells him that he's given him a city. City here denominates a desire, any desire. You may have a desire to get a spouse. You may have a desire to get a nice car. You may have a desire to get a $100,000 job, maybe even a $7-figure, $1 million job. You may have a desire to become a millionaire. You may have a desire to get a nice big house with a swimming pool, or you may have a desire to get a yacht or a plane, any desire. So Jericho here stands for a desire. Now the walls, we'll look at the walls in a second. The walls are your resistances, your blocks. These are the blocks or the resistances that are preventing people from receiving their desire. And what God does, He tells Joshua, this is kind of interesting. He tells Joshua, whose name Yehoshua. Yehoshua, you know what Yehoshua means: God who saves, God who helps, God who rescues. And he says to him, go around the city with all the men of war in the front one time with 7 priests every day. So 6 days, 7 priests with the men of war are to walk around the city's walls, but only sound the trumpet. They are not to speak. But on the 7th day, the priests will circle the city 7 times. And this time the men of war will make a shout, and the walls will come down. Okay? So let's count. 6 days, 7 priests travel in the city. 7 times 6 is 42. Okay? 7 times 6. I'm just counting. I'm counting 7 priests times 6. But then we have the 7th day. 7 times 7 is 49. 49 is an important number. Is an important number for the Jubilee cycle. Jubilee years. Now we have 6 times the priests go, and on the 7th day they'll do it 7 times. So 6 plus 7 equals 13. So they've taken they're going around the city 13 times. 13, by the way, I love the number 13 because my first house in England was number 13. And number 13 is also the 13 attributes of God. They're beautiful. You just got to have a look at them. Sometimes they're good. They're mentioned in the Torah. So we now have, what is the Kohan? Where are we going to get, if today we are to rehearse this thing, where are we going to find 7 priests? Well, right now, I can tell you that the only other priest that I had been in touch with, I haven't heard from him for the last 3 years. I haven't heard of him. I don't even know if he's alive. I don't know if he's dead. He hasn't contacted me. He borrowed some money from me at that point that he needed help with paying some taxes, and I've never heard. Well, I heard from him a couple of times after that, but like last 3 years, I haven't heard of him. That's who knows where he is. So we're going to find 7 priests. The only priest you're going to find is me over here. That is Rabbi Simon Altav is the only priest here. That's it. on this earth present today that can claim the heritage of Abraham. I don't know about the rest. I don't know about Israel. I don't know about the Ashkenazim, but I can claim the heritage of Abraham as coming from the east, because that's where Abraham came from as well. He came from the east. He didn't come from Russia, by the way. So, coming back to this story, let's look at the story and aspect of it. So what is God trying to teach us? Now we'll have to go back to our Parsha, and I'll have to link it to the Parsha to Ha'azenu. Ha'azenu starts with give ear, your ear. It says, O you Shamaim, and I will speak and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. This whole first verse is speaking about God. O you Shamaim is a reference to God as well. I will speak as a reference to God. O earth, the words of my mouth. And my mouth is, of course, God's mouth. And give ear is also something. Give ear is not here about God. Give ear is about you. You're supposed to give the ear. But when it talks about, I will publish the name of Yahweh, a lot of people have missed the boat. A lot of these true name people, they have already missed the boat. And Noah left a long time ago, and they all drowned. Why? Proverbially they all drowned. Why? Because they're still searching for the sacred name of Yahweh, but it's nothing to do with the sacred name. Publishing the name of Yahweh means to produce your desire, produce your manifestation. Yud-He-Wah-He in Hebrew is the personification of producing your desire. That's what it's personification of. So it's nothing to do with how you pronounce the name. That is totally offbeat. Nothing to do with it. So coming back to Joshua chapter 6, what we find over here, what we are taught is this. And I'm going to relate it to a story from Neville Goddard, because it might be easier if any of you read Neville Goddard or any of his books that are on the internet, or maybe you listen to his speeches online, you may relate to this story. And the story goes like this, that Neville wanted to come back to America. He went to Barbados to his family, and in those days there was only a very few boats that traveled back and forth to America. I think maybe only 3 a month, maybe even less, but let's just say 3 boats a month. So there were very few boats that traveled back. Now he of course got there. First he had the disbelief that he will ever get there because he had no money. And his rabbi told him that you're already in Barbados. And he was like, no, but I'm in New York. He's like, no, you're not in New York. You're in Barbados. And you're already there, first class. He's like, but, ticket, money and all that. He said, forget about all of that. You're in Barbados, first class. And that is how Neville got into Barbados, first class, just as his rabbi Abraham told him. So this story is related to that, because what happened when Neville wanted to come back, he saw no easy way of coming back, because there was only a few boats and they were packed, jam-packed, and people had to wait months. Some people had to wait months to get back home. So Neville sat there, and Neville said, okay, I'm going to use a law of manifesting from the Bible. I'm going to get back home. And that's exactly what Neville did. Neville sat in his armchair. Listen to this. This is really good. Neville sat in his armchair and he just imagined he's in New York. Exactly the opposite of what he imagined in New York, that is in Barbados. How did he do it? This story of Joshua, this story of Jericho is related to that event. This is how you do it. And I will teach you now what this means. The number 7 here, you know that a lot of religions of the world today use a number 7 to circumambulate or to do something, or they give meaning to the number 7. I don't want you to give any meaning to the number 7. The number 7 is just a number, and it just means to spin. Gilgulim. If any of you know incarnation or reincarnation, you'll understand what I just said. Gilgulim. We're going to spin it. That's all number 7 is. The priests are a representation of Gilgulim, reincarnations also of spinning, meaning that you don't need 7 priests, you can have one who will do the job. But 7 is just given as a number to Gilgul, means to spin it, to loop it. Another word for spin is to loop it. So we're gonna loop it. So what does the 7 mean? 7 means we're gonna loop it. That's exactly what Neville did when he went from New York to Barbados, and when he came back from Barbados to New York, because there was no seat on the boat in Barbados. And then he sat in his armchair and he imagined that he is crossing this little, like when you go into one of these big boats, you travel up this little, what do you call it? Archway or a leadway or some way, whether like a piece of wood or some kind of steps, and you kind of walk those steps. So what did Neville see? Neville continued to see himself walking those steps over and over and over in his armchair until when he stopped, when he saturated his mind and he was satisfied that he'd done it enough times, and then he got a call from the office and they said, hey, we just had a cancellation. You can go to New York next month or in a few days, They kind of phoned him and he said, you can go back to New York, back to home. In a few days, we have a cancellation. Neville's imaginative act caused that cancellation. This story of Jericho is exactly that. It is that whatever desire you want, you must loop it. When you loop it, your walls, your resistances, your blocks, they will come down. And what is the shout with the blast? What is this long blast? Let's forget about making this into some spiritual mumbo-jumbo, because it's not a spiritual mumbo-jumbo, by the way. I'm not going to take you into the eternity with this, as most Christians do. Nothing to do with eternity. It is to do with present, right now, today, here. Nothing to do with eternity. Nothing to do with the resurrection. Any of that, nothing to do with it. So don't even go there. Let's come back to present. The blast is what we call the Feast of Trumpets. The Feast of Trumpets for me, I know some of you already celebrated it. For me, it's going to be on the 19th of this month. It's still a week away. By the way, this whole story is a Feast of Trumpets. Because it's a continuously, what they were supposed to do? Continue to just sound the shofar every day. When they went around the city, they were just to blow the shofar, no speech. No speech by anybody. Keep a note of that, okay? No speech, only shofar noise. So, what is shofar noise? When do we do it? On the Feast of Trumpets. Now is the time. Isn't it amazing? Now is the time to do it. So, what does it mean? When I want a desire, I must loop it, and I must continuously loop it. No speech means imaginative act only. There is no speech. I don't continue to speak it. I don't affirm it. I don't need to affirm it. I need to imagine it. Imagine it. So, let's give you an example of a job. You want a $100,000 job or maybe even a 7-figure job. Maybe you want $1 million job. What do? You just loop it. You see yourself working at a firm, or you see yourself in your own business. Maybe you're a stock market millionaire. Maybe you're a Forex millionaire. Maybe you are just a millionaire from properties. Maybe you're a properties millionaire. All three is good. So let's just say you just see yourself as a millionaire. You see $1 million, 7-figure sum coming into your account, and you just loop it. So you're sitting in your couch, on your couch, or on your armchair, whatever you like to sit on, and all you see yourself is looping this figure that you desire, the 7-figure or the 6-figure that you desire. Let's call it 7-figure. You desire this 7-figure, and you just continuously see yourself loop. Let me give you a simple example. You want to be the best trader in the markets, whether it's the Forex markets, whether it's the stock market, or maybe you want to see yourself as the best property tycoon in the city. Even that, you want to build really nice big apartments, you want to rent them, and you want to see yourself as a developer. So what do? You sit there and you loop it continuously, the same. In your 15 minutes of sitting, and I'm saying 15 minutes, actually, I'll give you exact time in a minute, 13 minutes. 7 plus 6 is 13 minutes, okay? We are given 13 in this. 13 minutes, you're going to sit down and you're going to loop it. Just loop this story that you want to reverberate in your head. What is this story? What is this imaginative act that you're doing? You want to be the best property tycoon in the city. And what do you see? You see yourself in your office, and you see this accolade, you see this, the board, or the those little emblems or certificates on your walls that says that you, Simon Althoff, or you, James Smith, are the best property tycoon in the city. That you have built beautiful apartments, and you have been given a prize. When I say a prize, you've been given like a piece of paper from your local city that says that you're a great man, you've done a great job, you help people, you help your community, and you build beautiful apartments to house people. So you see that certificate there, and you continue to loop it. You continue to loop it, and you see your name on there. You continue to see your name on there. And I use my name for Simon. I see Simon's name on there, just looping. And you might see your name looping on there. You just see it looping. You just loop it. And if you're going to be a 7-figure sum, let's say if you want to see yourself as a millionaire, and let's say you want to see $1 million in your bank, that you just received $1 million in your bank, then what do? You loop a telephone story. Somebody calls you and says, Jane, congratulations, you got $1 million. And wherever you got that $1 million from, whether it's from a jackpot, a scratch off, somebody gave it to you as an inheritance, whatever. Jane calls you, somebody, one of your friends calls you and says, Jane, congratulations for your $1 million. And you say, thank you. Yes, thank you. I've got my $1 million in my bank. Or it could be another way that you have $1 million in your bank and you're giving $100,000 to somebody that you know. So maybe your brother, maybe your sister, maybe your spouse, whoever, maybe your Kohen. You're sending $100,000 and you're saying, here is the $100,000, the 10%. I've got $1 million. You say, I've got $1 million in my account, and here's the 10%. And you loop that story. And what is the story in your head? The story in your head is this. This is how it's going to come to pass. Because our walls are going to fall down. It's guaranteed to fall down. But you're going to go and you're going to sit down and do it. You're going to just sit there and you're going to say, I'm sending 10% to my Kohen, or I'm sending 10% to my sister, or whoever. You sit there and you run this story, and the story goes like this, that you're sending 100,000, you phone, the phone comes and the person says, I have received the $100,000, thank you very much. And you see, great. So your friend, your Kohen, your sister, your brother, your spouse, whoever you're sending that money to, the 10% of $1 million, you already have the million in your bank. And you're sending them 10%, $100,000, and you phone them and say, hello, this is such and such. Yes, hi. Did you receive the 100,000? Yes, I have. Great. Thank you very much. You loop that. You loop it. Loop. 13 minutes. 13 minutes is your time. And no speech, just a picture. All you see in your imaginative act is a picture. Once you loop that story and you continue to see that picture and you continue to see it, when you continue to see that, you're going to, afterwards, when you're satisfied that you looped it enough times, you stop and then you say, okay, I've looped it enough times. It's 13 minutes, maybe it's even 15 minutes. I've looped it to 15 minutes. I think I've saturated my mind. The story has gone up into the Shemaim, into heaven, into God. And this is where the Ha'azenu Pasha comes in. It's gone to God. Who are you speaking to? Who are you making the imaginative act with? With God. God is creating it for you. So The Parsha is linked in. And what's the story about Jesus of Nazareth and walking on water? Exactly the same thing. Ye of little faith. What? Meaning what? That you can walk on the water if you believe it. Walking on the water didn't need to be literal, although there was a man in London, I think he was doing it literal, and he did walk on water, by the way. I sent that little video clip to Rabbi Kefa to look at. But I'm just saying that it didn't need to be literal. It was again an allegorical story, another point of view, another aspect of that story was manifestation. Manifestations are not 3D until they become 3D. Manifestations are in another universe until you bring them into 3D. So when you want to see $1 million in your account and you continue to see sending that 10%, continue to see the telephone call, and continue to see talking to that person saying, I've sent you 100,000, have you received it? And they say yes. And you continue to do it, that is akin to blowing the trumpets, but no speech. That is akin to on the seventh day, the walls falling down. 7 is just a number to loop. It means that if you continue to do this every day, maybe you did it every day for a week, this particular scenario, desire that you want, you looped it. Just as Neville sat there seeing himself climb up that ship, all he did, he sat there on his chair, climbing up the ship, climbing up the ship, climbing up the ship, climbing up the ship. He continued to loop it, climbing up the ship, climbing up the ship. And then what happened? He gets a phone call. He stops. He probably does something else. He stops. He says, okay, I've done it enough times. I'm happy with it. I've sent off the story to God. He's now going to help me get me to New York. And he did. They phoned him and said, there's a seat. Just that way, you're going to get a call. And you're going to get a call, whoever you are. And you're going to say, you know what? I've sent you the $100,000. Did you get it? And the other person says, yes, I have. Thank you. And you say, great. You loop that story. You loop it. And if we're talking about a millionaire, if we're talking about you becoming a millionaire, a stock market millionaire or a Forex millionaire, it's very simple again. Same thing. You loop it in a telephone call. Your friend calls you, congratulates you and says, congratulations, Richard. I hear that you became a Forex millionaire. You really made it big. You did a great job. You made some great trades and you passed that million mark. And Richard, we're using just like a name over here, just an imaginary name, and it might be a real person as well. And Richard, you turn around to that phone call and say, yes, I have become a Forex millionaire and I have hit that marker. Yes, I made some great trades. I made $1 million and I'm really happy. And Baruch Hashem, wonderful. It's wonderful. It's great. It's wonderful. I'm so happy. So he loops that story. He loops it. He continues to loop it. He continues to hear that telephone call. Hey, Richard, I hear you became a Forex millionaire. And Richard says, yes, I became a Forex millionaire. I've hit some real great trades. Or you became a stock market millionaire. Yep, I became a stock market millionaire. I bought some of these trades. I bought some of these stocks, some unknown company. And, they skyrocketed. A few days later, some big company bought them out. They skyrocketed. And my shares and now become $1 million shares. I became a millionaire, Baruch Hashem. That's the way you loop it. That's the way you're supposed to loop it. And when you loop it, this story of Jericho is about looping your manifestation. Looping it until you're satisfied and boom, you're going to get it. Once you're satisfied and you stop, you may have to do it 7 days. Maybe sometimes you might go a little bit over 7 days. And after 7 days, you got your story done. You got your $1 million or whatever number of millions you're looking at, $100 million, maybe $300 million. It doesn't matter. Number is irrelevant. The method is what's important. This is a method you're going to apply. And this is a method that's going to deliver. The shofarim is really, as I explained to you, is the imaginative act in which you continue to see the imagination, no speech. But the last day when the speech is made, what is that? Well, when the great shout is really you saying, Baruch Hashem, you're saying, it's wonderful, it's great, I've got my manifestation. It's in 3D now. Meaning, if you're looking for a spouse, you got your spouse. If you are looking for that $1 million, you got your $1 million. If you're looking for that 6-figure, 7-figure job, you got your 7-figure job. Looking to become a millionaire or a tycoon, a property tycoon, you got it. A yacht, you got it. A plane, you got it. A house, you got it. A new car, you got it. That is the shout. So, this is where we are going with it. And again, this is why Jesus said to his disciples, O ye of little faith, because he had a hard time believing that you can walk on water. Because look, when you're on water, gravity pulls you down. And a human body's normal weight, will normally pull it down. Unless if you're 100, 120 pounds of weight. If you're a woman, maybe you're 100, 120 pounds. If you're a man, maybe you're 200 pounds. That water's going to pull the weight down. What does that mean? What does Jesus mean by O ye of little faith? Well, Jesus means you knucklehead. Jesus basically saying that look, stop thinking that it's about your body weight, that you're going to fall in the water. It means that believe in your manifestation. Believe it's going to come. Don't disbelieve it. Just continue to believe, continue to imagine, continue to believe. Don't stop. And as for affirming, yes, you can affirm as well. Affirming is another method in which you affirm, or intention. Intention is another method in which you do the intention, and your intention is that you have got whatever it is you desire. If it's that Mercedes car, if it's that Ford F-150 truck, if it's something else, you're driving it and somebody's congratulating you on the phone and you're looping it. That's what Jesus means by you of ye of little faith. Because right now, if you look at it, right now some of you are saying to me, hey, I don't have the $60,000 to buy that truck. I don't have the $60,000. Where am I going to get that truck? Means that you have no faith. Means that you are stuck in the 3D, that you are not going to faith. You're not going to the Shemaim, to God. You're not giving your ear to God. You're not listening. You're not paying attention. You have to use your imaginative act. Ear, by the way, ear. You know what the ear represents in the Bible? The priest, the Kohen. That's what the ear represents. So your ear is your Kohen. I'm the ear. I'm the one who's telling you that you got to loop it. When you loop it, you will get your imaginative act. You will get your wife that you so love. You'll get your husband that you so love. You'll get your $1 million. You'll get your plane. You'll get your cars. You'll get your truckloads of money that you desire. You'll get your big jackpot lottery win that you desire. Or that, $1 million in the scratch off, or $5 million in the scratch off. All of that is possible. It's all possible. Right now, I see 2 millionaires. I see 2 millionaires listening to this talk who are going to become millionaires. I see it. Right now, as I sit over here, I see 2 people who are listening to this who are going to become millionaires in their life. And it's not going to take forever. They're going to become millionaires sooner. Sooner means very soon. And I don't mean like next week. I mean like it could happen this year. It could happen next year. You're becoming a millionaire. 2 of you are becoming a millionaire. That's my prophecy for you. So do not give up. Do not give up. Continue to loop until you see it in the 3D. See, the 3D, the problem is this, that when we look at the 3D and we say, oh, I haven't got the money, and it's disbelief, it's doubt. This is why it says, oh, why you doubted? He says to Peter, Jesus said to Peter, oh, why did you doubt? Because doubt is what killed it, isn't it? Doubt killed it. And this is why he says that first he tells him to come on the water, and he does. And then he says, Lord, save me. And then Jesus tells him, you of little faith, why did you doubt? Meaning, do not doubt your manifestation. It is going to happen. Doesn't matter what anybody else tells you. You have desired something. It's going to come. It's yours. Yes, it's not showing in the 3D right now, but it is coming. You continue to believe it. You continue to see the imaginative act. And you can continue to speak it. If you want to do it the other way, the speech is the other way. Speech is the ha'azainu, the pasha way. It says speak. Well, I told you many times to look in the mirror and put the mirror on a table. You don't have to go in the bathroom and stand there for 10 hours. Just put it on your table next to your laptop and speak to it. And tell yourself that you are the millionaire. You can say to yourself, why am I a millionaire? Or, I am a millionaire. Or, I have millions in my bank. Or you can say, I am a self-created millionaire. I create millions of dollars. I am a self-created millionaire. I create millions of dollars. I am a self-created millionaire. I create millions of dollars. You continue to say it over and over and over again. And maybe you get tired after 5 minutes. It's okay. Take a rest. Go get a cup of coffee. Go get some tea. Relax. And then come back. Come back later. Start all over again. I'm a self-manifested millionaire. I create millions of dollars. I create millions of dollars. I create millions of dollars. I'm a self-created millionaire. I create millions of dollars. You will be a millionaire. I guarantee you this, that if you do it even this way, you will be a millionaire. So, out of all of this, I want you to take this home. Faith is not about unseen things. Faith is about feeling. And feeling is about touch, taste, sound, smell. That is basically faith. I've said it many times before. When you smell that money, when you hold that pile of cash in your hands, you see it in your imagination, you see it in real life, and you'll believe it. You will believe it. But you must do it. Don't just listen to the lecture and just turn off and go away and you're back to square one next week and you come back and you're back to square one. No. Start now. Continue to do it. Apply the story and you'll receive your end. The husband that you want, the wife that you want, if you want a spouse, if you want a wife, you describe the wife you want. Don't let other people describe it. You describe the wife you want. She's lovely, she's fair, she's beautiful, she is loyal, she is heavenly, she is beautiful, she is got a beautiful body, a beautiful figure. Whatever you desire in your wife, you describe it. Whatever you want in your husband, you describe it. And you believe it. And you receive it. That's all it is. That is the law of the Bible. That's what we call the law of assumption. That is what I call the law of manifesting. Jericho chapter 6 is all about the law of manifesting. Matthew chapter about Jesus walking on water, chapter 14 is all about law of manifesting. Deuteronomy 32:1 is all about law of manifesting. Are you going to apply it? I want you to apply it. I want you to start doing it from today. Just pick one desire. One desire. Start with one. And when your one desire comes into 3D, then you can go to the next desire. And you build your life. And some of you might want to do 5 together. Some of you might want to do 10 together. It's okay. If you want to do 10 together, no problem. You can do that. It takes more work, more time. But, if you rather work one by one, great. And if you want to work, more, it's up to you. As I said last time in my lecture, that everything revolves around money. So, bring the money and everything else will be fulfilled. Bring the job, everything will be fulfilled. That 6-figure, 7-figure job, everything will be fulfilled. So, that's where you want to be. And if you are there, then congratulations. I give you congratulations in ahead of your manifestations because you're going to get it, you're going to be happy, You're going to report it back to me, and you're going to tell me that I did exactly what you said, and yes, I got my manifestation. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you to teach me these things, and you're going to love me forever, and you're going to say, you're the best Kohen in the world, you're the best coach in the world, that I've never heard this from anybody else. Teach it this way as you did, and I applied it, and it worked for me. It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. Something wonderful has happened for me, and is exactly that. You became a millionaire. You found your beautiful husband. You found your beautiful wife. You got a beautiful home. You got a beautiful car. Whatever desire that you had, you got it. Okay. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for listening to me. I'm going to pass it to Rabbi Kefa. Have a great week ahead. Shabbat shalom. Shalom shalom.
In fact, let me start the recording now. This one will be recorded as well. So Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah. This is Rabbi Kefa coming in from our home base here in San Antonio, Texas. Todah Rabah HaKohen for your lectures on the walls of Jericho. But as you all know, and as you all were beginning to understand from our Kohen's lecture that, there are many layers to the Torah. There are many layers. We see the Torah, and if you can kind of imagine it, envision it like an onion. And as you begin to peel away the different layers of that onion, no matter what kind of onion you like, the yellow, the white, or the red onions, I seem to be a fan of the red onions. Devorah, be like water. If you're able to turn off your webcam, we don't use the webcams here. He's new, Devorah, so we're going to give him a little leeway. This is his first time here. So if you're able to turn off your webcam, that'd be awesome. So Todah for that, be like water. It's welcome him, Devorah. He's new to the family, Baruch Hashem. He's home. So I'm gonna just do my bit of the recording, and we'll keep it moving that way. But as you all can tell, there are many different layers to this Torah, and a lot of folks don't, like I was talking about, a lot of folks don't get in depth with this understanding, and they stay just on the surface of the Torah, on the skin. They on the skin of the onion, and they never get into cutting the onion and getting in deep. And this is what you get from the Kohanim. But what I will tell you, and I was taking notes during our Kohen's lecture, what I will tell you is this, and I find this very, very important and very relevant. If you, if you can understand this, is that do you all note that as they were commanded, as the Hebrews were commanded to go around the walls of Jericho, do you all note, and remember this, to walk around, the walk around Jericho was led by who? Was led by the Kohanim. You all get that? The wise will understand that. Shabbat Shalom to you, Eddies. The wise will understand that the walk of Jericho was led by the Kohanim. And as our Kohen was getting into his lecture, you began to understand that the walls are what? Let's see how many great students we have in the room. What were the walls symbolic of? HaKohen mentioned this in his lecture. What did he say that the walls were symbolic of? The walls were symbolic of what? What were the walls symbolic of? Blocks, right? There you go, be like water. Blocks. The blocks, right? So, in order for Israel, the resistance, in order for Israel to break through the walls, what is it important to have in this formula, in this strategy, in this technique? Anybody with me on this? As for those of you who have been seeking and searching on YouTube, and you go to these different quote-unquote Torah forums or Israelites or the Hebrews, and believe me, this is very, very important because the priesthood, there you go, the Kohanim are very important for you to be able to break through your wall, right? Because the Kohanim led. Remember we talked about this. One of the greatest things that I've learned, especially in what our Kohen was teaching right there, is I took this note. I said, note, to walk around Jericho was led by the Kohanim. That is so important. And so when you listen to all these so-called groups on YouTube that have embraced the Torah of Moshe, the Torah of Moses, you'll find that they putting up even more walls in this resistance. Why? It's because they're missing the formula. They're missing the key ingredient, and that's who? The Kohanim. You have to be led by the Kohanim. And I don't know if you guys know this, but even before we went to war, if the Kohanim didn't go before us, we wouldn't go to war. And when we did try to go to war, our Hebrews, when they did try to go to war without the Kohanim, they lost. What does that tell you? You see what I mean? So that leadership of the Kohanim is very important. Me and Be Like Water was talking about it like this, the sheep without the shepherd. A lot of sheep running around here, but if you don't connect to the shepherd, oh my goodness, you're susceptible to being devoured by the wolves and everything else that's out there. As the old woolly sheep is, walking through and going through the desert and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. You see what I mean? So it's vital important for us to understand, very, very important for us to understand that, is that those blocks can be dealt with, yeah. If you try to deal with them on your own, you'll waste a lot of energy on doing it and a lot of valuable, space on this earth that could have been utilized for other things instead of just being connected right to the Kohanim, which I tell you is a beautiful thing. When you go back and you connect to the formula, the forever ways of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the forever ways, then you can't go wrong. The Torah will never steer you wrong if you're being taught the Torah properly. But what we see on YouTube is that it's not being taught properly. And so the success rate with the Torah is almost ill to none, zero, because people are not finding success, but they get in these groups and they're finding other things, right? You know what they're finding? Division, hatred. Did you all know that some of these so-called Israelite, or they call themselves Hebrew groups, are on the FBI's most wanted hate list? Did you all know that? Did you all know? I'm telling you, some of these, it's very important you be careful who you associate with because they're being led by the wrong people. You go look it up. The FBI is watching these people. Because you know what, they get in these, we're a people of peace, love, joy, and happiness, and just full of peace. We walk around here saying shalom, but do we even understand what shalom is? Nehemiah said, yes, I do know, especially in Philly. So, yeah, Nehemiah is a watcher and a witness to this very same point that I'm making, this factual statement, that a lot of these groups that put themselves under the umbrella of the Torah are being watched by America's FBI for being a hate group. My goodness, that's totally opposite. I mean, my goodness, Moses' ashes is turning over wherever he's located. I tell you, I'm like, man, what the hell is this about? It's because they're not being led properly. And so remember when I talked about, you talked about the resistance, the blockages put up. If you're not led by the right people that's walking in front of you, then you're just going to add more resistance and more blockage to it. And you'll never break down that wall. You'll never get to the point to where the walls will crumble. You'll never get to that point. So leadership, headship is so vital and so important. Now, when we look at this parsha, Ha'azanu, this is a very awesome parsha. Now, what I want to touch on today is some key things that's going to motivate you. Because listen, Moses was on his way out in this life, on the face of this earth, walking this earth, and he wanted to leave some principles with Israel, and he wanted to leave them in a song form. How many of you like songs? How many of you you love music? Put up an M if you like music and you like songs. Anybody in this room? I mean, majority of people should be lovers of music. I mean, we Israel, that's in our DNA to like music. We should love some music. I love to hear some horns blow. I love, I'm a big jazz man. I love the horns. I love I love the bass too. I'm kind of a big fan of the guitar as well. Guitar is awesome, but I love some music. I love, especially on the instrumental front. James say, I love the OJ music. OJ, man, play your OJs, baby. I love some music. I think, I had envisioned when my son would be born that he would be born listening to some Luther Vandross or something like that, but it didn't work out that way because I was, but that's what I was envisioning. Oh, I'm going to play this Luther Vandross. I'm going to put on this Sade. I put this Sade on and we going to commence to begat, Baruch Hashem. But, I'm a big fan of music. I do love music, especially the horns. The horns seem to do something for me. So this is why and how many of you, I mean, back in the day, you may not could remember many things, but you could remember your favorite song. You knew the lyrics to your favorite song. You had it down. The melody, you had it down. You had everything down. Always in Forever says the guitar for me. Yeah. He passed, but he used to be a basketball player, and I actually had his autograph. I lost it, but I did get his autograph. Wayman Tisdale, you familiar with Wayman Tisdale for Always in Forever? He was an NBA basketball player, and he stopped when he quit playing NBA. He played the guitar, bass guitar. Man, he could play. Oh, I love to hear him play. So yeah, Wayman Tisdale, get some of his. He put out some awesome music. Yeah, Wayman Tisdale. So he passed on. He was a great basketball player, by the way, but I followed him because he for a hobby he would play the guitar, and man, he could play. He got some good music out there. Now he probably still playing in his next life, Baruch Hashem. So yeah, so we see Moses putting this in song from. Why? It's because he wanted the children of Israel to remember. He wanted the children of Israel. This is one of those things that you can have in your quiver, the way you can go back and remember. Okay. If I can't remember how to just do the commandments on my doing, I'll use a song to motivate me. I'm telling you. And anybody work out in here? I know I had a great conversation with Be Like Water, and he likes to work out. Be Like Water, do you work out to music? Music seems to motivate you when you work out, right? It gives you that motivation, man. You pumping that iron, or you on that treadmill, or you even walking. Maybe you like some of you are walkers and you're listening to music because it motivates you. It gives you that extra that push to want to just do another set. You want to do Always in Forever. Say I'm a walker. Well, I'm pretty sure Always in Forever you walking to somebody's music, right? So you walking to music because it helps you. Not only does it motivate you, but it puts you in another realm to where you kind of forget that you're walking. And that 1 mile becomes 2 miles just like that. Boom. Before you know it, you done did 2 miles. And you're like, okay, great. You're feeling good, and you got that motivation. So the same way during the time when the Hebrews was given given this awesome song by Moses. He's giving them this song in Ha'azanu. He's giving them this song and say, okay, look. But what I want to point out as we open up the Abrahamic-Faith Bible and the Hidden Truth we Break Scrolls, there's a few things I just want to point out. It's all in the music. And you see, this is one of the things, before my father passed, he had a birthday. And we all went, and he lived in Houston, and we all went to H-Town and to, spend his birthday with him. But my father, I tell you, he invented social distancing before social distancing even existed. And so he was like, no, I just feel like staying home. And remember what I was telling you about, we must be students of human nature. And I remember my father telling me that, oh son, he said, I don't want to go anywhere. His third wife had just passed, and he was going through the grieving process, but his grieving process took years. It's like my father never recovered after his third wife passed. And so I was like, okay, I kind of get that, but it's your birthday, Pop, so I'm here trying to hype him up. I'm coming with that positive energy, and I'm coming with the optimism. Oh, come on, Pop, let's, so much to live for. And at the time, my wife was pregnant with Nafshan. She was pregnant, so her stomach was pretty big at the time. So we down there, I'm the oldest of 5, so all of us are there. And, we're having a good time at Pop's house, and we're just talking. And say, okay, Pop, let's go out. We're going to take you out to eat. He's like, no, I don't want to go out to eat. I kind of want to stay home. And I can remember forcing him. I told you about this. I was forcing him out to eat. And I was actually forcing him out the door as his oldest son. My father's like 6'2", strong as hell, And I was like, he didn't want to go. And believe me, he wasn't going. And he didn't want to go. And I'm literally pushing him out the house while my siblings are watching me push him out the house. My wife was watching me actually to force him to go eat. And one of my other younger brothers, he said, look, Pop, we come way over here. He lives in Louisiana. He said, look, we come way from Louisiana to spend your birthday with you. Come on out and eat with us. And he still wouldn't go. And I realized, as a student of human nature, we got to respect people's wishes, right? We got to respect what people want. Just no matter how far, what distances we came to come see you, if a person don't want to do something, they just don't want to do it. And let's respect that. And I realized that. And I tell you, that was a great lesson for me. And I realized that I had to respect that my father didn't want to leave the house, even though I had come from so far. But I digress. So as a gift for my father, I told you guys I got him that recorder, the 8-track. where he could play his LPs. I got him a couple of LPs that he could play. But this particular record player also had a CD to it, but it looked old-fashioned, right? So it's really cool. It's really cool. And so my father only looked at it. But my lesson behind the gift was this, was I was trying to teach my father to, put the song back in you, Pop. Get the rhythm back, the rhythm of life. Get that back. Life is so beautiful and it's so wonderful. Get that back. Get that back. I was trying to help him understand and to put the song back in it. Because when you got that song in you, then you're motivated to want to do something with yourself, do something with life. And that's something that's, for the most part, positive, right? But my pop, he just never, come to find out after he passed, my sister's there cleaning up the place. My brother's telling me, he's like, look, hey, Pop still has he has this record player that you left, and he has those LPs. He never even opened them, Mishpah. The plastic was still on them. Nehemiah, he had never even opened them. True Joy Ministries, he had never even opened them to want to even attempt to play them. What does that tell you? That my father literally had given up on life. And he told me that many times as I would communicate with him over the phone when he would answer it. Always and forever. Sometimes he wouldn't answer it. That means he just wanted to be left alone. And in my father's last days, he just wanted to be alone. He wanted to be left alone. But he always told us to take care of your family, take care of your family. But he just wanted to be left alone as he went through his process. And, at the end of the day, I respect that in my father. And I had to, even though I wanted him to put the song back in him. You see? So Moshe's doing the same thing. He wants to put the right song back in you. That song of love, joy, peace, and happiness. Now, if you're singing any kind of other song, then, then that's what's going to materialize. But what Moses wanted the Hebrews to realize is that, look, man, the powers that we serve, will never leave us or forsake us. And always remember that what those powers that we serve did for us. So when you get in those moods, True Joy Ministries is saying, however, we have to respect our parents. Yeah, indeed we do. Even though we may disagree with what their respects are. Like I had to do with my sister. Look, my father didn't want all this stuff. Pop didn't want all it. He may not have communicated it to you, but he communicated it to me that he didn't want all this mumbo jumbo. You know what I mean? Even though we may not like it. And the same way with our loved ones and our friends as well. And those that we come in contact with. You see, we have to respect them for who they are and what they are at the end of the day. And we cannot make up excuses why we need to conform them. You know what I mean? Oh, well, I drove this far to come for your birthday and you don't want to go out and eat? Oh, to hell with that. You're going to go out and eat. No, that's not that's the wrong attitude to have. You see? Well, I had to respect my father's wishes, even though I didn't, because I was physically forcing him out of his house. No, he didn't want that. But, even then he was telling me, he's like, son, I'm tired. He's like, I'm tired, son. I'm tired. But then it finally resonated with me as in my meditations, as I'm meditating. And I could hear my father saying, son, I was tired. He said, now I'm not tired anymore. I'm whole, I'm complete, and I'm free. And I'm full of energy, Baruch Hashem. So I totally get it, Mishpah. I get it. But I had to go through some experiences. You know what I mean? Always and forever. Learning it. That was a great learning experience for me. Because I realized, man, I can't force this way of life, this Torah way of life. But I can definitely sing a song. And I can definitely put a song in me, Baruch Hashem. But I can't put that same song in somebody else. As I gave those LPs to my father and he don't want to play them. He didn't play them. He didn't even open them. I mean, that was his music too, man. My father loved some Al Green. Man, he could sing Al Green like no man's business, man. He knew the lyrics. He could sing some. Yeah, I'm telling you, we'd be traveling. He used to love to travel. He'd get in his Good Times van and he would travel from Louisiana to California. Because a lot of his brothers and sisters are in California as well. You see? And he loved, he would play his LPs. He would play his 8 tracks. I mean, if you remember we had an 8-track cassette deck in there, man. He would play his 8 tracks, man. He had a case full of, remember the cases they used to have? He had a case full of 8 tracks and he just pull them out and play his Al Green. Blue 8 tracks. He put them in. I remember them just like it was yesterday. But that motivated my father to where he'd be able to drive from Louisiana to California with no problem as long as he had that Al Green in there. And he was singing. I tell you, he knew all the lyrics to it as well. All the lyrics. You see, that song in you would help you get through your journey if you got the right, you got the right song in there. And this is what Moses was wanting to explain to the children of Israel, and to put the song in them. So I want to tell you today to put the song in you. So when you go through those times of desperation, of destitute, of so-called destruction, no, realize, put the song in you, man. You don't have to play that, oh, well, I'm going to get through this. Don't worry about that. And as you realize in the song, we have a power that goes before us that helps us that deals with these things for us. We don't have to focus on our enemies because everybody is our friend. You get it? Let the Most High deal with our enemies because we don't have any. You see, the people that don't like it, they just don't like us, and karma will find them. The people that wrong you, karma gonna find them. The people that did bad to you, karma gonna find them, True Joy Ministry. Karma will find them. Karma has a way of finding them out. Baruch Hashem for that, right? You don't have to go and fight your battles for you. Isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful, isn't it? And I don't hold no resentment of those people that speak against me and talk against. I don't have time that slander me, because that happens. You get on YouTube, oh, man, this rabbi don't know what the hell he's talking about, blah, blah. I give two hoots. I give two damns about what people's opinion are. Because as long as I continue to roll in my peace, love, joy, and happiness, I can do no wrong. I can do no wrong in the eyes of man. Although man may think I'm wronging them because I'm not in a particular group, and I leave them to it. Because I respect them. I respect them and their beliefs. And my sister kept telling me, oh, well, brother, it's not about how you believe. I'm like, sis, the burial of my father has nothing to do with how I believe. It's what my father believed and what he wanted done. That's my whole thing. She kept telling me, oh, well, brother, it's not all about your beliefs. It's not all about your beliefs. I said, what does the burial of my father have to do with my belief system as the people of the books? It has nothing to do. What does that have to do? But she's one of the ones that's caught up on our belief, the belief side of things, and she's totally missing the boat. She's got focusing all her energy on how her big brother's believing and him keeping the Sabbath and him not eating pork and blah blah blah. Then on my father's last wishes and what he desired and how he wanted to go out and how he wanted to be remembered. Wow. Sometimes, just like I told my sister, hey, you got to know your place. And I'm the oldest, so you got to know your place. Ooh, she didn't want to hear that, Miss Bob. She did not want to hear that, but I had to put her in her place. I said, you got to know your place. I'm the oldest here. So who do you think my father talked to the most? I'm the oldest here, and I'm the oldest son as well. She's the only daughter out of the 5 of us. So I'm like, so again, and she didn't want to hear that either, always in favor, because then she thought I was getting too machismo. Oh, you get too macho now. Oh, you think it's a man's world. You see how people, and that's why I don't get caught up in that stuff. I say, sis, you need to hold your peace. Hold your peace. Hold your peace. Don't try to make something out of it's just nothing. Let's honor my father like he wanted to be honored, like he wanted to go out. And look, let's keep him alive with our lives and how we live our lives as he lives through us, Baruch Hashem. All of us have a piece of our Father in us, and that's never going to die, Baruch Hashem. And we're going to pass on too one day to the next life. Energy can't be destroyed, so we just moving on. This is a journey. It truly is a journey. And just like Rabbi Simon Alter of Decoy said in his lecture, we're what? We're sojourners. How many of you believe you're a sojourner? You're a sojourner. Whether you travel and have many stamps on your passport like Akoin has, you got to realize you're a sojourner. Even if you never leave your state, even if you never leave your city, you're a sojourner. You're a stranger in these lands. And this is a big revelation as soon as you can grab hold of it. Because then you'll understand, yeah, these people are Gentiles, and they do what they do, and I shouldn't find it strange that they're doing what they do, because I'm in a strange land as a sojourner. You get it? So you shouldn't find it strange what they're doing. Why are you getting your panties in a wad over what these people who are native to these lands are doing? You know what I mean? Unless you're trying to occupy their land, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm just a sojourner. I'm not here trying to occupy their land and I'm not trying to make San Antonio Jericho. I'm not trying to do that. San Antonio is San Antonio with the Alamo here. I'm not trying to take the Alamo out and put the temple of the Most High there. No, I'm not trying to do that. And as soon as you can understand that, the better. The better your relationships will be with humanity on all levels. And you'll respect and you'll be grateful for the dispersion. And we read it right here in the song. It's in the song. It's very, very important that we understand is that, we got to keep the song burning within us. And it's very, very important that we understand that we will be scattered. We're told in this parsha, it's told, Moses told the Hebrews, look, eventually you end up being scattered. You're going to be dispersed. And that's okay. Don't get your panties in a wad. Don't think, that shouldn't have happened. Why couldn't these people? No, I'm not going to Monday morning quarterback any of that. Well, why didn't the Hebrews listen? Just the same reason why your knucklehead didn't listen. It's because we're human beings and we have the ability to make choices. And a lot of us sometimes make choices based upon bad advice. Bad instruction. And thus we go down the slippery slope. And then the majority of human nature just continues throughout the whole of their life to run on emotion fumes. Just emotion. There's nothing wrong with emotion as long as you have your emotions in check. There's a lot of people done a lot of bad things and they regret them behind bars. Man, I shouldn't have done that. I wasn't thinking. Or they start taking in the alcohol and partaking of the vine, and then they go out and do crazy things like run over other people and kill themselves or hurt others in the process. I think there's nothing wrong with drinking because I drink at home, but I don't drink outside of the home. And that's how we are as the people of the book. You can get busted and broke down drunk at home. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. But don't do it outside of the home. You go out socializing, you drink Kool-Aid. When I go out and socialize with my friends while they drinking whatever they drink, you know what I drink? Cranberry juice, man. Hey, man, you got some cranberry juice back there? And everybody looking at me. Why? It's because I drink at home. That's why I drink. That's where my drinking take place. Oh, you're weird. That's right. I'm not like y'all. I'm a stranger here, remember? I'm the stranger in your land. You see, this is how Hebrews roll, Mishpah. You can get towed up, man. It don't take much, man. I start drinking on my wine, man. And before you know it, one glass does it for me. I'm trying to go to bed. Honey, I'm going to lay down. But I don't drink in public. Not alcohol. No, I do that at my house. That's where that takes place. Outside of that, I socialize with you. I'll have some cranberry juice and a little Sprite, sir. They're like, oh, wow, that's a strong drink. I say, yes, sir, it sure is. I really do love it. You ought to try it sometime. So it's all about keeping that song within us, Mishpah. And we got to, you keep the right song within you, then when the troubles do come, play the song. When times are good, play the song. You are the song, and the song is you, Mishpah. That's real. Make the song real to you, Mishpah. And always remember who you are. I'm telling you, you need to go watch Lion King. Always remember who you are as a people. Our heritage is rich, man. Even though you may be thinking, man, I don't even know where I come from and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Well, the next portion will kind of help give you some clues on that one, on who you are. What clan or what tribal affiliation you may be associated with. And that, coupled with mother wisdom and maybe even a question or two from the Kohen to the Kohen, will give you some great assistance in that area. But you're Israel, and that's what's important right now. Affiliation to Israel, you can catch up with that later. Always remember who we are. Let's begin reading. Again, I read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, the Hidden Jubilee Break Scrolls. You don't have this Bible, please get it, add it to your The library is going to assist you greatly in your studies. Just the commentary alone is just like second to none. You get great commentary that really gives you insight of our history and who we are as a people and how rich our history is. You know, we're not slaves, Mishpahah. Don't let them tell you on YouTube you're slaves, and don't let them tell you on YouTube that you are a cursed people. We're a blessed people. We're not a cursed people. Yet some of the leadership out there want to tell you, quote-unquote leadership of Israel, want to tell you you're under a curse. I'm not under nobody's curse, man. I'm a blessed people. I'm covenanted. I'm not cursed. Baruch Hashem. So we'll read, from the Parsha, Ha'azanu, from Deuteronomy chapter 32. I'll start at verse 1. O give ear, O Shemaim, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. You see, this is important to understand. This is why it's very important that we connect it to people, plants, and pets. Because, we all here on this earth. And look, we're told that who are the witnesses here? You see, when you have a court case, and anybody worth their right mind, and anybody, you want to get proper judgment, it's important that you understand these very, very important facts with proper judgment. You want to be just, right, and fair. The main thing that you have to have, number one, is you have to have witnesses. Who was on the scene? Remember when they wanted to stone Miriam? And what did Yahushua say? Remember when they wanted to stone, not Miriam, but maybe the woman's name was Miriam, but she was like so-called woman of the night and all this, that, the other, all these accusations going about her that she's sleeping around and blah, 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 and, and this, that, and the other, and the third. But, then they wanted to stone the woman. So what did Yahushua say? Jesus of Nazareth, Yahushua, Yahusaki, Yeshua ben Yosef. He said what? He that is without sin, let him cast the first stone. Let's put the witnesses together. Who was there on the scene to see this happen? Anybody? Did everybody see it happen? See, number one, when you want to give proper judgment, you have to bring all parties together. The ones making the accusation and the ones being accused. And then number two, you must have the witnesses. And did anybody see it? If you can't have these things, I'm telling you, man, our way of life, Hebrew law is awesome. Because, you have to have all parties there. This is not a one-sided type of judgment that you normally see, especially here in America. My goodness. They're incarcerating people that were actually innocent. And many folks, you've heard the stories. You've seen the facts. Many folks have been falsely accused based upon trumped-up allegations. Correct me if I'm wrong, here in America. I don't know if it's like that in the UK, Lion Princess or Lion King, but it's prevalent here in North America. Well, men and women of color are being incarcerated, based on trumped-up charges. None of the stuff was even true. These were innocent people that have lost great periods of their life behind bars. And so it's very important that we have law that is just, right, and fair. And that only law is the perfect law. And by the way, for you, Be Like Water, I think, Nehemiah, you have the book of the perfect law. If you don't, you guys contact me. I'm going to send you that book. It's very important that we understand, perfect law, not man's law, but perfect law, and where perfect law is, authored by HaKohen. It's very, very important that we understand the rules and regulations of the perfect law. Yeah, you got it right, Nehemiah. I did send it to you. This is very, very important that we understand perfect law. Who cares? Yeah, we have to obey man's laws and the laws of the nations that we're in. Because, I don't want to be writing to you from prison cells. That's important. But understand there's laws that supersede that law. And that's the perfect law, the laws of the universes that don't change and they're consistent. Let me give you one example of the laws of the universes. When is the last time that you did not see that the sun will rose in the east? Anybody? Anybody not see that the sun rose in the east, that it set in the west? Did that not happen at any time in your lifetime? You see, that's perfect law. That's laws of the universes. They don't change. They're consistent. They are consistent, Mishpahah. And you see, that's what we need to really get back to, is that consistency. Not these laws today. Okay, today we're going to legalize marijuana. And then 2 days later, marijuana is illegal. You get what I'm saying? See, there's no consistency there. So you got people flip-flopping all over the place. They don't know whether they're coming or they're going. You know what I mean? So this is why it's very important that we have witnesses. And see, and who are the witnesses here? We have the heavens and we have the earth, Prukashim. Great witnesses, by the way. And these places are consistent. They're always there. Never late, right? My doctrine shall drop as the rain, and my speech shall drop as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. However you can handle. You see, a lot of folks can't handle it. And Hakoy says this. He said, I'm going to give you the facts. I'm going to give you the truth, but can you handle it? We used to have big numbers in this room. I'm not concerned with numbers. That's never been important to me because I understand that Israel is always going to be small. We were small. We're always going to be small when it comes to number, quote unquote number. Man likes to roll with the big numbers. They figure if you have bigger numbers, you'll be more successful. Why? Because, then what they call the popular numbers will win. The bigger the numbers, the bigger your opportunity of winning are, and that's not the case. They have the wrong thought process. Me, I could give two hoots about these 19 people that's in the room right now, or I could give two hoots if there's 1,000 people in the room right now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But what does matter to me is that a lot of people are not, they're like tender herb. They get this truth and they can't handle it. Because why? That truth comes down to them like showers on grass. And they just a tender herb and they get destroyed. Because they cannot handle this truth. So people will come through here, they'll stay for a minute, and then they'll leave. And I respect that. Because just like True Joy Ministry, just like Be Like Water told me, he's like, hey, man, this is not for everybody. And it's truly not. This way of living, this way of life, this lifestyle is not for everybody. So if you come and you try it and it doesn't work for you, then bye-bye. And don't let the door hit you in the back. And I respect you, and I wish you and I don't wish, but my desire is that you have the best life ever. And you go find your peace, love, and joy, and your happiness wherever you can find it. That's the way we need to be. You know what I mean? And not telling people, hey, you're banned from the room because you said Yahushaki, and it's Yahushua. You're banned. Get out. You're excommunicated. You're going to be sent into the desert and go face Aziel. I'm like, what the hell, man? I mean, come on. Because of a name? Okay, but you see, that's what people are. You see, people want to be be mindful of this. I'm going to say this. Tadafa this in Hokmah, Mother Wisdom. People want to be judges, and people consider themselves judges, but be mindful of this. When you consider yourself a judge, be very careful and watch how the universes will begin to pass judgment on you. Be mindful of that. I'm going to say that again. People like to judge, and they consider themselves judges, and they judge every day. But be mindful. Judgment has a way of coming back and biting you in your ass. I'm going to tell you that, and that's real. So don't be quick to be judging people. Yeah? Do some alteration and do some alignment on yourself. But when it comes to other people, hey, be on guard. Word of caution. Be on guard because, we talk about karma. As you treat others is how you're going to be treated. That's karma. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. That's karma. People don't get that do unto you part because they don't even have a connection to themselves. You see? Yaya wanted attention by Shalom to you. She's saying, you like it? I love it. You see? It's very, very important that we understand. Be mindful of that. And so people will come through here. They'll flow through here. They'll come and go. They'll come and go. They'll come and go. Because they cannot handle. They cannot handle the dewdrops. Or they can't handle the small rain. Or they cannot handle the showers. They can't handle it. And I respect that. But for those of you who are here, understand. Some of these lectures, when Hakoy speaks, you may feel like it's showers coming down and you really get it. You understand, while others, it's like a small rain. And they're only grasping small bits of it. And that's okay. Because you may be that tender herb where, look, I'm just coming back into our way of living. We've been dispersed and scattered, and we've been told in the song that we would, our way of life would become foreign to us because we wouldn't know it. We wouldn't know it. But again, now I'm coming back, and now we're going to learn it. Why? It's because we're going back and we following those forever ways. Let's talk about in Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16. We've gone back to the ancient ways, as the translation is in the King James version. But we've gone back to those forever ways of our forefathers. Now we're coming back to those forever ways, that way of life. Oh, the Christian will tell you, oh man, y'all got too many laws and da-da-da. It's a government. What government you in that don't have laws is a government that's in chaos. Believe me. And for those of you who've traveled, you know, the more government that you have in there and the more law that you have, the more order you will have. The less law that you will have, the more disaster and just destruction that you'll have around you, and chaos. Laws are important if they're instituted in a just, right, and fair way. They're very, very important. Very, very important, Mishpahar. And this is why some folk can't stay around, because they see the law of Moses as just that, just a bunch of laws. So they don't want you to shower them with a small rain with laws or showers with laws. They don't want to hear all that mumbo jumbo. They want to live their life. And let me tell you, I see this a lot in human nature. They want to live their life on their own terms, and I respect that. And then in the background, they want to fall on grace. That's their umbrella. Their umbrella is not the Torah of Moshe, but their umbrella is the grace of Yeshua, the grace of Jesus. Oh, I can do everything because I'm under grace. His grace covers me and protects me. For us, as the Hebrews, those commandments, the covenants is what protects us. And we're under that umbrella of the Torah based upon the covenants, and then our interaction with those covenants by our doings, and our belief on that covenant, on the covenants by how we live our life. That shows how we believe. I can tell a person how to, I don't have to, I'm like when when the Hebrews first went around Jericho, and they were told what? Not to say anything? What does that tell you? Hint, hint. When you come into this way of life, you ain't got to go telling everybody everything. No, you just have to live this life. Just walk it. And that's just what the Hebrews did. They just walked around Jericho. How you going to deal with tearing down your walls, tearing down that resistance, and tearing down that blockage? Walk around it and keep your mouth shut. Continue to walk the way. Baruch Hashem. Do you see the revelation in that? Peeling away at those onions. Just walk it. You ain't going to run and tell nobody nothing. Keep your mouth shut. And walk it. Live it. It's a way of life. It's beautiful, isn't it? Just live this way of life. Well, I don't know how to live it. Well, when you're with the Kohen, you're going to learn. The first thing you need to do and understand and live in this way is learning to love yourself. Have a love for yourself. I want you to say that right now. Ooh, I love myself. Say it, True Joy Ministries. Ooh, I love myself. I just love myself. I love me some self. That's the start. That's the start of the walk. Ooh-wee, I just love me some self, right, Eddies? I love myself. That's the start of the walk, of a successful walk, of a walk that's going to tear down some walls. I'm tearing down walls, man. I'm a dominator. I got this big wrecking ball. Imagine this big wrecking ball. And I'm just tearing the walls down, man. Tearing the walls down. Tearing them down. There's no blockage here. True Joy Ministry says, I love my ministry with my orphan children. Orphan kids. Baruch Hashem. Great ministry, True Joy Ministry. Keep it up. Do what you love and love what you do. Do what you love and love what you do. Another key factor in this gift of life that we've been given. So again, some people can take the showers. Some people can take the small rains. And some people just can't handle it. And that's at the end of the day. Yahudi says what? My excitement of finding the truth pushed me to want to share with everyone, but there was a lot of rejections. Yep, because you're not supposed to be sharing, Yahudi. And I know you learned this on the backside. You keep your mouth shut and you let your walk do your talk. I'm going to say that again. You keep your mouth shut and you let your walk do your talk. Your walk is what's going to tear down the resistance. Because, you know, when the resistance tore down, people can run to you. But when you're talking to them, you put up walls because this is strange to them. You see, do you know, Yahudi, did you learn from this in your experience that the more talking you did, that the further away these people got from you, that they actually put up more resistance the more you were talking? And like you said, rejection, that's the form of a resistance, a wall, right? Baruch Hashem. What a great lesson you learned behind all that, right? Always and forever said, I learned that my actions spoke louder. Oh, indeed. And they still do, always and forever. And they still do. You're Hebrews. That's in your DNA to act. Just to take action. Just to do it. We will hear, we will do. We will do, we will hear. We will do it before we even heard the Hebrews. Baruch Hashem. The Hebrews told Moses, we will do, we will hear. What do you want us to do? Now tell me what you want me to do. Baruch Hashem, you see? You get it? I tell you, Mishpahah, our way of life is just totally awesome. You know, my desire is that the whole world picks up on some of it. And they are. They take bits and pieces of it, right, Shane, y'all? They're taking bits and pieces of it. But, there's, you know, how many of you want a piece of cheesecake or you want the whole cheesecake? Like, I tell you, I want the whole cheesecake, Mishpahah. I want it all. And there's no reason why I can't have it all. You don't have to settle for just a piece of the cake, Mishpahah. You're a human being created by the Most High. You are a human being created by the Most High. I always have ever said, I want the whole roast. Indeed. And throw some gravy and some rice on that too. I'm with you always and forever. And for my wife's sake, put some vegetables in it. She got me on that vegetable hunt. You know the Chinese, man, they eat a lot of vegetables. She got me on that vegetable hunt, and I love it. I tell you, man, hey, family, I tell you, I am growing bitter gourd like no man's business in the garden. Well, let me rephrase that. My wife is. I'm growing bitter gourd. Bitter gourd is just coming out, and it's like every meal I'm eating some bitter gourd. Bitter gourd. Remember, that's one of those foods that Hakoyin told us to eat along with what? The okra, the bitter gourd, and what was the other one? The eggplant, wasn't it? Put that in your diet, Hebrews. That's how we eat. You see? So when they come to you with the vaccine, whether you have to take it or not, I'm like Hakoyin. I'm a traveling man as well. Learn that from Hakoyin. We travelers. Well, I understand some of these nations, they're running in fear. They want you to have the vaccine. You see, what these kind of foods, when you put them in your body, do for you, along with the other methods, is they prepare our bodies for the negative intake that we put into our bodies. So we're doing preventive things. Because I'm gonna get the shot too. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get the J&J. I'm gonna get it because I understand I'm gonna need that to travel, man. You know, some of these nations running in fear. I don't know how it is in the UK, if y'all give me an update, or even in France, Oliver. If Lion King, Lion Prince, y'all want to give me an update, but, you know, a lot of these countries still running in fear behind this corona variant, corona, to where they talk about booster shots, this booster on top of the booster. So you're going to have to get these things to function in a society, just to function. You know, you don't fight it, we're going to function. Because we understand our bodies, man, look, you can't take Israel out. I mean, do you know how many different people, different nations have tried to take out Israel? And you can't. We like baby's kids. We don't die. We multiply. We're going to continue to do that. Why? Because that's the song I sing. That's my song. You see? Look at verse 3 there. We got to get it moving. Verse 3 but I love just talking about our way of life and our life experiences, because that's what it's all about. How you could take the Torah of Moshe and put it in 2021 and make it real. You see? I'm not trying to live something in the past. I mean, Christianity, religion is past, man. They want to keep you in the past, keep you in fear, keep you chained up, keep you shackled and in bondage behind, keep you mentally, out of control. But when you get in the Torah of Moshe, you realize how free you are. And you're free to just live your life on your terms. And you're free to have whatever you want, whatever you desire for yourself. And you have assistance in getting whatever you want and whatever you desire for yourself in this life. And you go through this life with an exceeding abundance of wealth, of joy, of peace, of love. Isn't that beautiful? It's not about a religion. It's about how you live your life on your terms. And I tell you, that's just so beautiful. So we look at Deuteronomy chapter 32. Look at verse 3. Because I will publish the name of Yahweh. Ascribe you greatness to our supreme one. Baruch Hashem. I will publish the name. What is publishing the name? Not going out holding out placards, passing out Yahweh tracts on the weekends. No, it's about you living your life. And you honoring the Most High. Like I'm honoring my earthly father who's passed on, and I'm honoring my heavenly father by how I live my life with what they taught me and what they told me to do. And how I'm taking that forward. And I'm teaching it to my sons and my sons' sons and my sons' sons. Baruch Hashem. It's in the song. We got to do that. We're Israel. We are Israel. The only communication that goes on is between me and my family because I need to pass this on to them. I need to teach it to them. So for you, Yahudi, you know who you need to be telling this to? To your son and your son's sons. To your daughters and your daughters' daughters. That's who you need to tell it to. They won't reject it. They're part of your DNA. It's in their nature. This is why we're told to train up a child, and when they're young and when they're old, they won't depart. But you got to train them up when they're young. You see? And I'm always young. I'm young. I'm a young whippersnapper, man. I'm 51 and I'm young. I'm 51 going on 21. Baruch Hashem. I'm always going to be young. You got to keep that mindset about you. Don't let nobody tell you that you're old and you're done away with and things are breaking down. No. No way. I'm in a healthy mind and I'm in a healthy body continuously. That's real. I'm in a healthy mind, and that's one of my affirmations in my meditations that I say. I'm in a healthy mind and I'm in a healthy body continuously. I am in a healthy mind and healthy body continuously. Baruch Hashem. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can use that one. I got that one from my Kohen. I'm in a healthy mind and a healthy body continuously. Baruch Hashem. Add that one to your meditations. And that's what you will be. As a man speaks, so he is. Or as a woman speaks, so she is. Baruch Hashem. Listen and look. Listen to the song. Look at this God that we serve. Look at verse 4. He is the rock. His work is complete. Baruch Hashem, you complete. Don't let nobody tell you incomplete. You complete. Don't let everybody tell you you a mistake. No, you complete. You are complete, Mishpahah. For those of you who your mind is playing tricks on you in that area, understand that you are complete. You are whole. You serve the Most High. He is the rock and he is complete. That's my Father, so that means I'm complete. I have the DNA of El Shaddai. Come on now. For all his halahot, for all his commandments are righteous. El, the power of truth and without iniquity. Just and right is he. Baruch Hashem. Just and right. Remember talking about just, right, and fair? Where did I get that from? From my Father. To be just, right, and fair. To all his creation. People, plants, and pets. That's why my bitter gourd is growing like no man's business. Because I go in the garden and I talk to it. Hey, thank you for nourishing my body and giving me strength and protecting my body from all these processes that are out there to destroy me. I understand I can't be destroyed, and I thank you for assisting me and helping me in that perfect health that I have. I'm in a healthy mind and healthy body continuously. That's real. Israel. This is the kind of relationship that we need to have with humanity. This is the kind that I want to have so that I can dominate. I've been given the keys to dominate. I've been given dominion. How many of you in this room believe you've been given a dominion? Put up a D if you understand what I'm saying. See, a lot of folks don't understand. They believe that the earth is just taking advantage of them. No, I've been given dominion, and I'm going to dominate. I don't know about you all, but I'm going to dominate on my terms. Full of peace, love, joy, and happiness. That's what I'm bringing. I'm not bringing destruction. I'm not bringing depression with me. I'm dominating. And I'm teaching others to do the same thing if they so desire. But I will teach my son, Nakshan. He gonna dominate. He dominate now. You know the neighbors in the neighborhood, you know what they call him? They call him Samson. They say, uh-oh, here come little Samson. He just turned to Baruch Hashem. They say, oh, here comes Samson. Oh, he's so strong. Indeed, he's strong in mind and he's strong in body. Because that's what I tell him he is. Baruch Hashem. I don't run around here. You hear him in the grocery store. Oh, you nothing. You just like your father. You nothing. You was an accident. I hear people saying this to their children. Get over here, little Johnny. You just like your no good father. I'm like, oh my goodness. How you suspect little Johnny gonna turn out like his no good father? So you must begin to speak. I have a healthy, happy, humble little boy. Handsome little boy. That's what I speak to him. I said, man, you're such a healthy little boy. You such a happy little baby. You such a humble little baby. And I'm sitting there, and he just laughing. He just laughing. He taking it all in. That's what I'm feeding him. You see? You see, this is what This is publishing the name, Baruch Hashem. You get it, Yahudi? This is what you teach this to your sons and your sons' sons. You teach this to your daughters and your daughters' daughters. They complete, man. They whole. You know what I tell them? Papa's little lion. And then you know what he does? He goes, roar. He does that. I say, you just Papa's little lion. He'll go, roar. What do you think he's understanding? He's from the tribe of Judah. He is from the tribe of Judah, and that's how I'm bringing it across to him. There's Papa's little lion, and then he'll go, roar. That's right, baby. That's real. Publishing the name of the Most High. But we see in verse 5, look at the song. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. That's what happened to us. We went another path. We went another way, Mishpahah. And this is what the song says. Not all songs are happy songs. I mean, if you know that. You have to have the happy with the bad and the glad with the sad. That's all a part of it. Is that, hey, it's not all good. People make choices, and some of those choices are not great choices that they do make. They're actually not good choices. And it takes them down a horrible path. Shabbat Shalom to you. And it takes them down a horrible path that puts them in many different situations, that gives them great experience so they can give thanks when they do come out, because they will come out on the other side complete if they continue to believe. This is what belief is really all about. Belief is your actions materialized in the physical form. You see, belief is doing for the Hebrew. It's not just saying, oh, I believe. Well, what do you believe? Show me what you believe with your actions. You see what I mean? This is and a belief is also how you feel. Well, I feel like killing that dude. Well, you got a weird belief system. Or I feel like really helping that and providing service and helping this person. It's how you feel. How do you feel? You see? And then that'll piggyback into what? Well, how do you believe in yourself? What do you believe about yourself? You see? Because, if you're going to love somebody else first, the first number one rule is you got to be able to love yourself first. If you're going to have any love for somebody else, you're going to have to begin to love yourself first. This is why in your walk, that first relationship that we must connect with is that relationship with ourselves, and really begin to honestly deal with ourselves. Right? Be like water. We really got to come to, and sometimes we can't see it. Sometimes we can't see it, but others can. As just you begin to speak. You begin to speak because from the abundance of the mouth, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? So this is why you just got to shut up. And I say that in all respect. Just shut up and just listen to people speak. And then you can make a highly educated guess on where they are in their belief. You see what I mean? And then you can say, well, does their belief line up with the belief of Moses? Or they belief line up with their own little proclivities over here and how they want to, their own little religion that they started over here. You know what I mean? But we just need to shut up and just listen. Because people what's in their heart is what they're going to speak eventually. They may put up a front for a minute. How many of you ever been on dates like that? Well, Rabbi, I hear it all the time. Hey, Rabbi, he said all the right things. But then he started doing da-da-da-da-da. And I realized he wasn't right. You see what I'm saying? You see what I mean? This is why you just shut up and you just look at their actions. Because, what they say to you may be totally different. How many of you ever have real life, real-time experience with that in a relationship that you may have had in the past? You're like, oh, man, Rabbi, he said all the right things, and she said all the right things, but then he did this, and this. He did or she did this, and this. You see, it's the doings that really catch your attention. You see, it's the sayings that draw you in, but it's the doings that's going to keep you. I always like to say, and this is, really, really good saying, is that always do what you did to keep her. Whatever you did in the beginning, continue to do that. Of course, throw some appetizers on top of it as the years go on, but whatever you did in the beginning, you must continue to do that to keep her or to keep him. You get it? That's very important. those doings that you did in the beginning is what drew them in. You know what I mean? Yeah, the words were nice, this, that, the other, and the third. The words got you something. The words got you, you know, it enticed them. But that doing, is what keeps them. You know what I mean? It keeps them to where they don't go off. And you have that relationship that's continually growing and nurturing it to where you guys become a beautiful, fine, big old oak tree together, or whatever kind of tree you have in your neighborhood. This oak over here, oak and cedar tree, big old oak tree, and your roots are deep. Why? It's because you've established that relationship, and you continue to establish it based upon that positive doing. And it's not just about a relationship with man and a woman, but, you know, you must understand, as human beings, our lives are based upon relationships. In the job, with friends, in your occupation, with significant others, everything, relationship with your children, everything is a relationship. How do you handle and deal with those relationships is what people look at, and they examine that. You see? And that's what's important to understand and consider. We go on to hear the story in Deuteronomy chapter 32. We go on to hear the story. Let's pick up at verse 6 of 32 of Deuteronomy. Is this how you pay Yahweh, O foolish and unwise people? Is not he your father that has brought you? Has he not made you and established you? Think about that. When you're going through some difficult, rough moments, so you call your difficult, rough moments in your life, go back and understand who you are and who you serve and who's got your back and your front. Don't be foolish and unwise people. You see? Is not he your father that has brought you? Think about our rich heritage and our rich history. Yeah, for a while we had an excuse. Man, look, I didn't know I was a Hebrew. How many of you with me? Man, one time I didn't know who I was, but I was trying to figure it out. So I jumped in Catholicism. I jumped in Christianity. 'Cause I was trying to figure it out, man. I didn't know who I was. I had no clue, man. Yeah, that was our excuse back then. We were running in ignorance. You see? We're no longer running in ignorance no more. Why? It's because the Kohen let you know who you were. How did I find out who I was? Through the Kohanim. The one who walks before me, Baruch Hashem, the leader, the shepherd. He told me who I was. How many of you have that same experience? It was the Kohen who let you know who you. It was the Kohen that told me that I was an Israelite and that Bible was the history books of the Hebrews, which I was. This is my heritage. I was like, oh snap! That was revelation to me. It was the Kohen who let me know who I was on YouTube. He said, yeah. He said, majority of you people of color are people of the books. This is your history. And I'm like, wow. And here I am with this Bible, you know, King James Version. I got the Bible with the pictures in it. How many of you had that Bible, the old school? I mean, my grandmother had that Bible. It's a Catholic Bible. It's got all these pictures of these white people in it. Nothing against white people. I ain't got nothing against y'all. But these Caucasian people are all in these pictures. And I'm like, man, this man's telling me that I'm supposed to, that these pictures should be like brown and black. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, that's interesting. And then, I mean, that drew me in. Then he's like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, man. Then you got white Jesus on the wall, too? And I'm like, man, nothing against Caucasian people. But this was my experience. I'm like, wait. Now all of a sudden you're saying that the people of the books were people of color. Wow. I was like, Be Like Water says, like people with melanin. You know what I mean? So, and I was like, wow, that drew me in. That drew me in. So now I know who Yahweh is. I know who the God of is. I know who Yah is. I know who the Most High is. So during those times when things get a little rough and a little bit shaky for me, a little bit rocky, I stand on my song. I stand on the song that I know, yeah, things may get a little rough. Situations may come, but I'm complete. I serve the rock who is complete. So then I'm complete. I will not fail. I'm going to be a success in everything that he does. And I'm going to use this particular situation to give esteem to the Most High and to give praise to his name as I will come out victorious. I'm a winner. I'm not a loser. I'm the head. I'm not the tail. You see, this becomes real to you when you begin to apply it this way. It becomes real in your life. And it's not just something that you read out of a book, but it's something that you live every day. This is why we say our way of life is a way of life, Mishpah. It's a way we live. And when you begin to grasp that or hold of that and really take that to your head and put it in your heart and really begin to feel it. You know how they say, I feel you, I feel you. Where you really begin to feel the Torah of Moshe and it becomes real to you and it becomes your way of life. And you're just engulfed in it and you swim in it and you sleep on it and you wake up with it and you're walking with it and it talks to you and you talk back and you get answers. You may have questions, but there's answers there. And there's ways out of every situation. There's nothing that you cannot, man can do nothing to you. Remember Yeshua ben Yosef saying that? He's like, man, who are you afraid of? This man who is carnal or the Most High who can only, how he paraphrased, he said, are you afraid of this man who could only take your life from you? Or are you afraid of the Most High who could do even more? You see, I'm paraphrasing. Hadassah Gray says, I'm glad I obeyed Abba in teaching the truth. Oh, indeed, because it was that particular period in the history of humanity for Israel to begin to wake up and come out of her slumber. Not many of Israel is going to come out of their slumber. I'm not saying that everybody that represents Israel has to be in this Power Talk forum, but if you just look at the numbers on the Power Talk forum, and you look at those that maybe listen in on the YouTube or maybe even listening on Facebook as well, but the numbers will be small. Anticipate that and be of good cheer because that's how it's going to happen. The numbers are going to be real small of those Israelites that wake up out of their slumber and actually come back to our way of life, not to a religion, but to how they need to live their lives and take care of their families. It's going to be really, really small. But I would encourage you to be of good cheer, be strong and be strengthened, and understand this, is that you're one of the ones that have come out, and you're one of the ones that have accepted and have heeded the call. You know, and you felt that. How many of you, for you, it was a feeling? Because for me, I felt like something inside of me wasn't right. That's why I have a high respect for emotions. Your emotions, man, my emotions led me back to my true identity because I felt like, man, this ain't cutting it. Going to Christian Sunday church is not doing it, man. So Sundays, I tell you, Devorah, Sundays I was in the garden, working in the garden because I realized, man, Sundays, I felt like something just wasn't right. And I felt like there was more to life than what I was experiencing at the time. And I knew, man, there's got to be more to it than this. There's got to be more to it. So I began to cry out to God. I was like, God, hear me. I want to obey your will. I want to do what you want me to do. What is it? Who am I? You know, you felt it. It's just like a feeling. So I'm not knocking emotions, but I want you to have your emotions in check. Emotions are a beautiful thing. They've been given to us by the Most High. To cry when you're happy, cry when you're sad, to feel happy, to be joyous. You see, to be at peace. That's the emotional state, to be at peace, right? That's a beautiful state to be in. When you're at peace with yourself, then you can have peace with everybody around you. But that peace, it must habitate and it must begin from within. That's where peace starts. It starts within you. And then that peace begins to permeate outside of you because you're already peaceful within yourself. But you'll find, as a student of human nature, that a lot of folks are not at peace with themselves, and that's okay. And maybe that's why you've been introduced into their life, or maybe that's why they are particularly attracted to you. You see? Because you're at peace with yourself. And so don't get your panties in your water, your underoos all tied up, is because we're dispersed in the nations. That was due to happen. We see it in this parsha as well. It's in the song. It's in the song. Look at verse 26 of Deuteronomy 32. We're told, I said, I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Is that not true today? Man, when I told my father that we were the people of the books, his mind went, he's like, son, you're crazy. He's like, you're crazy, son. It can't be. Why? And I understood, because we were told that he would make the remembrance of them to cease from amongst men. This is why those Russians are running the roost with Judaism, because they have assumed our identity. And that was told by Moses. So don't act brand new. You know what I mean? Don't act brand new. So don't get your panties in the wall behind that. Don't get your underoos all tied up because, oh, Rabbi, but they have assumed we already knew that was going to happen. We're told in our holy books that was going to happen. We were told in our holy books. Okay, let me just confirm that part for you watchers and you witnesses right now. We were told that I would scatter them into corners. Can everybody, if you can type right now, can you type in where you're scattered? What corner are you in right now? Where are you located right now? Can anybody type that in? I'm gonna type mine in too, because we have to see this. You have to see it to believe it. Everybody tell you, I'm here in San Antonio, Texas. I'm scattered, right? I'm scattered. Look at all the where everybody's scattered at. I mean, come on now. So you see, so that part is true, right, Hadassah? Hadassah's in Canada. That part is totally true. Nehemiah said, I'm in so-called Philly, America, Philly. Okay, Baruch Hashem. See, so that part holds up, right? That part holds up. So we have been dispersed and scattered. James in Florida, Be Like Waters in Oklahoma, Devorah's in Wisconsin, Oliver's in France, Vive la France. EI, he's in Cali, Baruch Hashem, going back to Cali. You see? So that right there's a testament to it for you who are listening via Facebook or you're listening on YouTube. And who knows where you guys are. So, again, that part holds true. We've been scattered to corners. Torah don't lie. This is real. So if that part is real, then the remembrance of us will cease. It's not like it just stopped. It hadn't been forgotten about, because this is why somebody said earlier, thank God that HaKohen, he began to teach us. See, it just ceased. It just stopped. But then HaKohen was raised up out of the UK to begin to teach us who we really are. So the ceasing has stopped for all of us, and I'm grateful for the ceasing has stopped. Now I know who I am. Now the people that were playing our role, they don't like it too much. they don't like it that now in this time that the real Israel is waking up. They don't like that. They don't want to give up that mantle. They don't want to give it up. And I'm not telling them to give it up. They can continue in their religion over there, because we're going back to our way of life, man. We're going back to our heritage, but they can continue in their religion called Judaism. But they sure don't like it. They sure ran me out of their synagogues quick, man. It's like, you don't belong here. And you guys were totally right. They ran me out of the synagogue here in San Antonio. They said, yeah, you don't belong here, sir. Now I understand they were totally right. Was my feelings hurt? Yeah, I was hurt. I say, look, I come to give thanks and praise to Hashem, Baruch Hashem. I come to give praise to Elohim. I come to publish the name of the Most High and to show my gratitude and thanks. They're like, no, sir, you don't belong here. They said it in a kind way, but it's like, you don't belong here. And I totally get it. I totally get it now. I totally get it. They don't remember us being Hebrews. You guys understand that? They don't remember us being Israelites. That's part of the song. Know the song. Get the song in you. You see, so when you've been bombarded with all of this information out there, we're in the information age, So when you're bombarded with all this information, you can see through all of it and you can sift through it clear. You can swim in it because, it doesn't faze you one way or other, right? Your foundation is solid. Devorah said, I went to a synagogue bookstore to purchase a mezuzah, and the question made me make sure I wouldn't deface it. and they questioned me to make sure I wouldn't deface it. I tell you, Devorah, isn't that something? That's your heritage. Little do they know. See, but a lot of them they don't even understand. They don't even understand. They don't even understand. They just holding up a facade for a minute. That's okay. As long as you and I understand that we are. And I tell you, Not only that, when you go to Israel, my goodness. I went to Israel with HaKohen. My goodness, man. We went and paid homage, you know. And, you know, I thought it kind of ironic that they put all the Hebrews that, decided to make the Aliyah, the Hebrews, the Israelites that left America, burned their American passports, and went over there to Israel. They put them, surprise, they put them at Dimona down there, right by the nuclear plant that they have there in Israel. I was like, wow, that's really low. But again, even they over there, a lot of them do know. It's like, they were asking us, they're like, is it time for you guys to come back now? I was like, no, we're just visiting. We're just visiting. They're like, is it time already? A lot of Jews know. They're just not going to tell you, but they do know that they're holding up a false card. They're just holding up. I tell you, and I'm so grateful for them, because you know what they did do? Although we were ceased, they did keep our way of life in some way, shape, form, or fashion alive. You know what I mean? They kept our heritage in some way, shape, form, or fashion alive, even though they added to all that mumbo jumbo and all this, that, the other stuff. I'm grateful for them. Because while we were, Oliver, you know this, Oliver, right? While we were in these nations and doing our thing and blah, 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 while we were being secured and tucked away in the corners, Baruch Hashem, somebody was holding up our heritage for us at some capacity. Quote, unquote, I put heritage in quotes, you know what I mean? At some capacity. You get it? So I'm grateful for that. And I don't have nothing against, the Ashkenazi or the Sephardi. I have nothing against them at all. I really don't. To me, they're brothers. You know what I mean? I see them as brothers. I don't have anything against them. But I'm going back to my true heritage and who I really am. That's what's more important to me. You see, I care for myself, and that's what's more important to me, to find out who I was, because that's the feeling that I had. Now, I don't have that feeling anymore, like, oh, man, I'm not feeling like I belong here. No, I know I belong here. I know I'm home. And nobody, and no man, woman can take that away from me. I'm home. And now that I'm home, now that I know who I am, now that I know I'm not African American, now that I know I'm not African, now that I know I'm not, shoot, man, I tell you, I'm unstoppable, because I know who I am. And it's important to know who you are. And it's important to always remember who you are. And it's important. This is why you got to put the song in you, because it's important to know, the powers, that we serve, the powers, the Most High, the God of Israel that we serve, and what He has done for our forefathers, and what He continued to do for us today, and that He's never changing. He don't change. He's the same. He's yesterday, today, and forever. So if He helped our forefathers, do you not think He's going to help you through your situation, through your circumstance, through your quote-unquote problem today? I submit to you, He will. He will never leave or forsake His people. Wherever you are, He is there, because He's in you. Powers is in you. You don't have to go search for powers. We went to Israel to the temple site that's in ruins. I mean, it's flattened and in ruins, and all of that is like farmland. And I tell you, it's so peaceful there. There's not the hush-posh with all the commercialism and the tourism. You don't see none of that down there in Tel Arad. It's real peaceful and quiet. And you look over there, and there's valleys of just plushed over farmland, real green grass. And the wind is blowing in your face, and you feel all of that. And you look over to one side, and you see the Valley of the Kings with all the big old stones that they roll away and roll over for the tombs. And that stuff is real. And I sit there and saw it. And I'm like, wow, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. And then you get to the temple site, and all you see is these rocks, man. And I tell you, that's when I get emotional. Because all you see is these rocks. You just see rocks, Mishpahah. Rocks. And it takes you back to the temple of old when you read about the temple. And I have all these books with the illustration of how the temple used to be when it was erected. And you sit there, and HaKohen gave the petition for all of Israel as the Kohen in the gate. And you sit there as representative for the tribe of Judah, for Ephraim. We were all there, and we paid homage, and we were bowing down on these stones. And I tell you, that's an experience I'll never forget. And we all just boo-hooing that our temple was gone. We have no temple. And that goes to show you many things on many fronts, Mishpahah. Is that, our powers is not in the temple. He's not in the building. He's with us wherever we go. He's with us in the exile as he scattered us into corners, as we're told in our holy books. We've been scattered into corners. Don't think of it as a negative thing. See it as a positive thing. You're located where you are to do great things for the nation that you're in. Not to do terrible things, not to protest and cause all kind of anarchy, but to do great and marvelous things for the nation that you're in. Baruch Hashem. That's what we're here for. It's totally not about, causing anarchy, but it's about, elevating these nations that we're in and doing marvelous things and helping and assisting these nations be great shepherd nations that have welcomed us and embraced us into these nations. Embraced you, Oliver, in France, embraced us in America, and embraced us in the UK and took us in as a people. Even though they had no remembrance of us as the people of the books, as we're told there in verse 26 of Deuteronomy 32. And I will make the remembrance of them to cease from amongst men. They totally forgot who the Israelites were. And so be it. That's a part of it, isn't it? But we're not here to run down the governments, run down the presidents, run down the leaders that the Most High put in place in these nations. We're totally not here to do that. We're not here to complain. We've been commanded and mandated to be a light to these nations. So we attract people to us. How many of you believe light attracts things to you? How many of you believe? How many of you are a firm believer that light attracts? You don't believe me? I'd encourage you to do this. And I have one of these in my garden. Because I'm telling you, man, normally Texas don't have, San Antonio, we don't have mosquitoes per se. But since we've been having all this rain, man, mosquitoes are crazy here in Texas. So you know what I did in San Antonio? So you know what I did? I put one of them bug lights out there. You don't believe light attracts? Use this experiment for your family. Just watch this. Man, I'm telling you, I put that bug light in the garden because I'm sick and tired of these freaking mosquitoes biting my wife. I don't like that. Messing up her pure, soft, Chinese yellow skin. I don't like the mosquitoes messing up her skin. And you know how Chinese women are, man. They love their skin. They like that's a big thing for them. You know what I mean? Shoot, my wife looks like 1 year over 18. But I'm like, what am I do? So I get this bug light and I put it back there, and I'm telling you, you just see all not only mosquitoes, but the moths are going there, everything I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, I meant to just only deal with the mosquitoes, but it looks like it's taking everything else out. Why? It's because insects are attracted to that light at night. They go right to it. And they go to the light, ooh, this light's so beautiful. And that's what we are, Mishpahah. And that's what we ought to ascribe to be, is to attract people to us, not pull people away from us. So in that the YouTube forum, you listening via YouTube, you listen to recording later, in the YouTube forum, understand that Mishpahah. Is that, if you're following some of these groups and they're talking about hate and they're talking about separate and they're talking about segregation and all this, that, the other, and the third, no, run away from these groups. That's not Israel. Israel's nothing like that. We should be approachable. This room is open. Just like Abraham's doors were open to all people, this room is open to all people to come and go as they choose. Just remember to respect the room just like we will respect you. We will respect what you believe in and what you have strong feelings about, just the same way you should respect this room and what we have strong feelings about. And you remember a while back, somebody had came in here and said, can I be in this room? I don't believe in the Torah of Moses. I said, yeah, you can be here as long as you respect the room. Respect those that do believe in the Torah of Moses, which I do. And they stayed for a minute and listened, and so be it, and then they left. But that's the way you need to handle it. That's just the way you need to handle it, with the approach that, listen, we're all human beings at the end of the day, and we all have different belief systems and how we believe and what we have strong feelings about. Because at the end of the day, your belief is a feeling, right? What do you have strong feelings about? And believe me, that will show. You don't even have to tell me. I just sit back and watch it. I'll be able to tell exactly what you have strong feelings about. Because you're going to act upon your strong feeling. You see? And that makes it so beautiful. So there in Deuteronomy 32 and 26, we see that, yeah, we're going to be scattered. And yes, people are not going to remember who we are. So, you don't have to send the emails in, well, Rabbi, so-and-so said I'm not a Jew. I'm not the real Jew. Well, of course they're going to say that because they don't remember who you were. You get it? They said I'm the fake Jew. Okay, they can say whatever they want. Does that bother you? Don't hold your emotions on your shoulder, and it won't bother you. You go about your I am, Baruch Hashem. Right, Nehemiah? You go about your I am, and you don't worry. You give two hoots about what they said. You go about your I am. I'm going to be about my I am. I can give two hoots about what you say. You say doesn't matter. It's about my I am. And this is why we always like to, center it on self. It's like, hey, what do you want? What do you have strong feelings about? And they could continue to pursue that. Don't get caught up in the formalities of trying to please everybody. I've been down that road. That doesn't work. Trying to please everybody. It just doesn't work. It totally doesn't work. So you have to go with what pleases you and your family, what's going to be best for you and your family. Well, Mama said, it's all about pleasing and taking care of you and your family. Mama will get over it. Well, Mama said I have to, Mama was wrong. Mama was wrong. Shabbat shalom, not John. Mama was wrong. And so we need to understand that. Mama was wrong. And you come to a point where you have to begin to make decisions for your own life. And my father gave me a great lesson on that. May he rest in peace in his next life. Is that we must remember is that we have to get to a point where we come out of mama's shell, papa's shell, and we begin to make choices on our own. You see, raise up a child when he or she is old, he won't depart. You got to raise them up when they're a child. And then they're able to make those necessary decisions when they're older. And my desire is that they don't depart from those decisions that they were taught. But my pop never taught me about the Torah of Moses. My father never taught me about the Torah. I didn't know about the Torah of Moses too. But my heavenly Father gave me guidance and direction. Right, Nachan? Shabbat shalom, son. Nachan is up in all his glory. Shabbat shalom, Nachan. Shabbat shalom. So it's very, very important that we do understand that. It's very, very important. And now that we have waken up, it's very important that we begin to pass this on to our sons and our sons' sons. This is our way of life. This is our heritage. We have to keep the song going. But first of all, we must put the song within us. This song, we must remember this song. Why? It's because, there are going to be times when, things aren't so good. There are going to be times when you're faced with, quote unquote, situations. Troubles may come your way. How many of you noted that when you came into the knowledge of the truth, that it seemed like all hell broke loose all of a sudden? That's what it was for me. I mean, all hell seemed, everything seemed that could go wrong, did go wrong. You know what I'm talking about? It's like all hell, like, man, well, I came in back home and everything seems to be breaking around me. Like everything. And now I understand that was a part of that paradigm shift that had to take place within me. You see, things around me had to change. As I was changing, my whole environment had to change. And then I had to get these lessons, these tests, to be able to adapt and to be able to begin to learn. Unlearn and learn at the same time, right? Be like water. We got to unlearn a lot of things so that we can learn the proper things. And so this is why I was like, what the hell? Why are all these things starting to happen now? I was doing so well, just being old lousy Christian, miserable Christian, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. Now that I'm trying to improve myself, it's like, man, no, but now I begin to understand. Now I truly see it. It's like, okay, that was a part of me growing. That was a part of my growth process that I had to move and usher into. Right now, John? Mm-hmm. That I had to usher myself and move into. Baruch Hashem. And you see, as I'm a teacher right now, where's my son? He's right here on my lap. He just wakes up and he's right here on my lap listening in. What does that tell you? He's going to be truly connected to who he is. And he's going to know, just like we watched Lion King together, he's going to know who he is. That's the first step. He's going to know who he is and the powers that he serves. Right, Nashan? Yah! I tell Nashan to give thanks. He goes, Yah! Right, Nashan? He's only 2 years old, but he knows it. And he will know it. And I can't sit here and say, well, I wish my father would have taught me that. No. Then I go back to the song. The remembrance of us will cease from amongst men. My father forgot about it. Although he put us on the path because he began to search. He had me tell you, we was going from church to church to church to this religion because my father he wasn't comfortable. He felt like he wasn't comfortable and he wasn't home. Baruch Hashem. Now he's at home, he's at rest, and he begat his oldest son that's going to carry it on. I got that baton we talked about last Shabbat, passing that baton. I got that baton, and then now I got the song too, Be Like Water. I'm unstoppable. I got this song in me that I'll never stop playing, that will always be with me, about how powerful our God is, about how powerful we are when we serve him, and about how rich our heritage is. And I'm going to take that, and I'm going to bring that home. I'm going to bring that home until I take my last breath, and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to pass it on to my sons and my sons' sons. Baruch Hashem. And that's what it's going to be. And that's how we're going to roll with this song. And I only went through bits and pieces of it because, I've been going for a good minute here. But that's okay. Because I felt like this had to get out today. And this is going to help. If not just one person, believe me, I'm totally happy. If this is going to help somebody in their pursuit of happiness, in their pursuit of peace, love, and joy. It's not about a religion. If you're for a religion here, you're in the wrong place. If you're listening here on Facebook or in the YouTube forum, you're in the wrong place if you're for a religion. But you want to live your life better, you want a better experience on living a life, then you're in the right place. You're totally in the right place, and you're connected with the right people because the Kohen is here. The Kohen and the children of Israel are here. And I'm so happy to be a part of the family. And we may not get bigger, but that's okay. But we are getting bigger because we're all growing, right? We are getting bigger as individuals because we're growing the family. We're growing, and we're getting better and better and better and better at it. You know what I mean? And that's what's important. Because we don't see big in number. We see big in our relationship with ourselves and our families. That's how we're going to get bigger. Numbers, who give two hoots about numbers? We can give two hoots, man. I'm telling you, that's truly what it is. And I tell you, before every lecture that I speak to the family, I always tell the Imhok, my mother wisdom. I say, you put the words in my mouth to speak. It's not about me. It's about my family. It's about what we need to hear that's relevant for 2021 going forward. Don't be fearful. Be of great courage and be of sound mind and be strong. Don't be fearful. Don't be depressed. You don't have to be. Play the song. The song gets you out of it every time. If you remember the song, put the song in you. Make that a resolution for yourself. Make that a mission. Is to put the song in me. So nothing can faze you. Because believe me, the ups and downs of life is going to happen. That's the laws of the universe. The sun goes up and the sun goes down. What does that tell you? You have darkness and you have light, right? I mean, that's the nature of things. That's the universal principles. But the thing is, how you handle it. How do you go through it as an individual? How are you going to handle the things that come? Shalom, my son. Shabbat shalom, my son. So that's what's important to understand. So on that note, I'll wrap it up with the Shabbat. But remember, HaKohen's lecture will be in its entirety. For some reason, it just stopped right at the 17th minute. I don't know why. But he'll put his lecture on and then mine. He'll couple them together and we'll have them in the YouTube forum under SimAlt. SIMALT. Look for that on the YouTube forum and we'll keep it moving. You see, again, a situation may come to where, things may not work out right, but we always have an avenue out. There's always a way out. There's not a wall that we cannot tear down. There's no such thing as a wall that cannot be torn down. Ask the Germans over there. They even tell you there's no wall that can be torn down. There's no wall that cannot be torn down, Mishpachah. Believe that. That's real. There is no wall that cannot be torn down. If you believe it, if you feel it. So there's always a way out. You may be saying, Rabbi, you just don't know my situation. There is a way out of your particular situation. There is a way. There is a way out. And there's always ways out. I won't say a way. There are ways. Baruch Hashem. So we give thanks always. I love you and I leave you in the mighty hands of the Most High. And I say Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you. And if the Master so desires to later, we'll see you next Shabbat. Baruch Hashem. We'll keep it moving, right? We'll keep it moving for the Most High. Well, be like water, welcome, and you're always welcome back here. This is our forum, and you guys have any questions, please, feel free to send me an email, or you can send me a text message, because my number's on our website, and we'll keep it moving. We'll keep it moving. Send our Kohen an email. We'll make it happen. We're a family, and we all in this together. Baruch Hashem. So we give thanks always. I say Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you. Say Shabbat Shalom, not Sean. Say Shabbat Shalom. Yeah. Okay, now Sean probably ready to go get something to eat. We give thanks always. Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom Mishpachah. Have a wonderful 6 days of labor ahead and an awesome Shabbat.